Hey guys, it's Susan again, and today we're going to make fluffy cha-cha rings. So today we're going to start working on something that I like to call a cha-cha ring, or today it's going to be a fluffy cha-cha ring. And I call anything that has a lot of dangles on it a cha-cha style. So if it's like a cha-cha bracelet, it's gonna have lots of dangles on it. Cha-cha necklace, same thing. This is a little ring that I make and it's got lots of dangles on it, but I call it fluffy because the way I do it kind of makes the beads kind of fluff out like that, so it's kind of cute. So I'm gonna teach you guys how to do that, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So let's get started working on our cha-cha ring, and if you like this video, don't forget to ring that bell so you can be notified of any other videos that we make. All right, we're gonna get started making our cha-cha ring. So you're going to need a few tools and supplies. I want to go over those first. You're going to need your one-step looper. We've used that before. It's a great little tool that loops our head pins with just one easy little squeeze. We're going to use a round nose plier, and we're also going to use a chain nose plier. And then finally, we will use a flush cutter because we're going to be making a ring and we're going to need that flush cutter to finish off those ends. We will be using a ring mandrel and some 20 gauge wire. And then finally, the pretty stuff, we're going to use some 3mm round beads. I like to use these cute little faceted gemstone beads. Got some garnet and some amazonite and some peridot and some different stones in there. And then we're going to use these little ball end head pins. And you can use any head pin for this project, but I love to use the ball end head pins. And the reason is because it just adds a little bit of extra metal to the end. It's just a nice little touch. So first of all, let's get started with our 20 gauge wire. This is a German style wire. It's a little bit harder temper than some of your other wires, so it's going to hold its shape really, really well. And we're going to cut about 2 feet of it, and we're going to get started by making a loop at the center of the wire. And to do that, you're going to use your round nose plier, and we're just going to bring that into a loop. Just like so. All right, so now I'm going to open that up just a little bit, and what we need to do to make this is an example of the ring. You've got to get all of those little beaded pieces inside this little loop right here. So I've got to make my little head pins into some little loops that I can then put on there. So the next step is to grab my one-step looper, and then I've already strung all of my beads onto my head pins. So those are just on there like that, and I'm just going to loop every single one of these head pins using this tool. All right, so you're just going to put your pin right through the hole on the edge of that tool and bring the bead right up against the edge. And then I'm just going to give it a squeeze, like so, and it's going to loop my wire. Pretty easy. So I'm going to do 12 of those. Let's see. So all I'm doing now is I'm getting these all closed up really, really well. Normally with the cha-chas, you're going to be putting them onto a chain or something like that, so you would twist it open and put it on the chain and twist it closed, but because I'm going to string them onto my wire, I am going to just close them all up right now before I get started. All right, so there are all my little beads ready to go. And so now, before I make the ring, I need to get all those beads inside that loop. So I'm going to string them onto the end of my wire. And it doesn't matter what order, just kind of be free with it. Pop them on there. So I'm just going to bring all those down on there, and they're just going to pop down into the inside of that loop. Okay, so there they all are. Look. And I'm just going to get them all down inside that loop. All right, so now all we have left to do is make a basic ring, and if you guys have watched any of my other videos, you saw, I believe I showed how to make a basic ring. It's been one of the most popular videos. You can watch that one again if you want to and go back and just see how to make a basic ring with just one bead on top, but this is essentially the same skill. It's just now we have a little fluffy cha-cha segment on the top. So take that, and I'm going to put this right here on the size 9 because I'm trying to make a size 8 ring. And when you make these rings, they have a tendency to shrink up a little bit, these wire rings, so you always want to start about a size bigger than you actually want. So I'm starting on the 9. And you can see all the numbers on your ring mandrel right there. There's an 8, there's the 9. So that's where I am. And I'm going to go 2 wraps on one side, and I'm going to go 2 wraps on the other side of my little fluffy piece right here. And then I'm going to pull all of the wires together and I'm going to wrap underneath all my little guys. So I'm just actually turn it upside down. It's gonna make it a little bit harder for you to see. I'm just gonna wrap underneath on one side, and then I'm gonna take this guy here and wrap on the other side like so. Hold everything. I forgot one step. Before you do that, what you want to do is you want to pull this really tight, because that is what makes these little guys kind of stand up a little bit better. And then once I get that pulled tight, then I'm gonna wrap underneath. See how they kind of stood up a little bit more? Like that, because I want them to kind of give me a little bit of fluff. There, perfect, much better. And then what you want to do is just you're going to finish off the ring by wrapping these wires, these extra wires along the edges of the ring. So you're just going to push that through and pull it through on the other side, just like that. And then wrap again. I usually do this 3 times to finish off the ring. It leaves a nice, it's just a nice finish on the side. So 1, 2, and 3. And see how I'm kind of poking that through and then pulling on the other side to finish that off. And then you're just going to trim off the extra wire on the inside of the ring and take your chain nose plier, and see that's kind of sticking up right there. You want to take that and make sure you press that in to the band, because you don't want to feel that. And you can actually take your finger and kind of go over it like that and just make sure you can't feel it. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. I'm just gonna push the wire through the band and then pull on the other side and push it through. And just make sure you do, whatever you do, just if you do 3 on one side, make sure you do 3 on the other side. And then trim and then press it back down with that chain nose plier. And then last step is just pop it back onto your ring mandrel, like so. Make sure you got your right size. I was going for an 8. So, yep, got myself just right at about an 8. And so I always put it on one way and then the other, just to kind of finish that off and kind of make everything look like that. Perfect size 8. Make everything look pretty. And there you have a little fluffy cha-cha ring. All right, so now you know how to make fluffy cha-cha rings. Let me go through some of the supplies and tools that you needed, just so you don't forget. We are going to always need, when we're making rings, a ring mandrel. And today we used something called a one-step looper to make all of those little dangles that you put on the fluffy cha-cha ring. And then of course we used a round nose plier, a chain nose plier, and a flush cutter. And as far as our supplies were concerned, we just used some little 3mm gemstone rounds, and we used head pins with little ball ends on them, and 20 gauge wire to make the base of the ring. Thanks so much for watching. If you guys would like to pick up some supplies like the ones we worked with today, check out the links down below. What stones would you use in your cha-cha ring? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that bell, and we'll see you again next time.